Lucky American coins. The 1993 United States 1-cent coin, better known to collectors as the 1993 Lincoln cent or Lincoln penny, is one of those coins that can look completely ordinary at first glance, but can become surprisingly interesting when examined closely. Millions of 1993 cents were produced for everyday commerce, and most examples remain worth only their face value, or a small premium in collectible condition. However, the world of error coins is different. A genuine mint error can transform an otherwise common Lincoln cent into a collectible object that attracts the attention of specialists, dealers, auction houses, and collectors. The most important thing to understand is that not every unusual-looking 1993 penny is rare, and not every damaged coin is an error. A coin that has been scratched, bent, chemically altered, exposed to heat, plated after leaving the mint, or damaged by machinery outside the mint is generally considered damaged rather than a genuine mint error. The distinction between a real mint-made error and post-mint damage is one of the most important factors in determining whether a 1993 Lincoln cent has significant value. The 1993 Lincoln cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. The coin honors Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and its design has remained one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics. By 1993, the Lincoln cent had already been produced for more than 8 decades, and the design had undergone several important changes during its history. The coin seen in 1993 was the familiar memorial reverse type that had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design remained on the cent until 2009, when the United States Mint introduced 4 different reverse designs to mark the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the original Lincoln cent. A standard 1993 Lincoln cent is composed primarily of copper-plated zinc. The core is zinc, while the outer surface is a thin layer of copper. The coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams and has a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters. Its plain edge has no lettering. The copper-plated zinc composition is important when evaluating possible errors because damage to the copper plating can sometimes create an appearance that inexperienced collectors mistake for a rare mint error. A genuine plating error, however, can be collectible when it occurred during the minting process and can be confirmed through careful examination and professional authentication. The obverse of the 1993 Lincoln cent displays the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above Lincoln's portrait is the inscription Liberty. The date 1993 appears to the right of the portrait, and the phrase "In God We Trust" is positioned above the design. Depending on the mint of origin, a small mint mark may appear beneath the date. A 1993 cent produced at the Philadelphia Mint generally carries no mint mark, while a Denver Mint example bears a small D. San Francisco was producing proof cents in 1993, and those proof coins carry an S mint mark. The mint mark is extremely important to collectors because it helps identify where the coin was produced and can influence rarity and value. The reverse of the 1993 Lincoln cent features the Lincoln Memorial. Above the memorial is the inscription United States of America. The denomination 1 cent appears below the building, while the motto E Pluribus Unum is placed above the memorial. The Lincoln Memorial reverse is especially interesting because the tiny details inside the memorial can sometimes help specialists identify unusual strikes or varieties. Collectors have long examined the area around the memorial for double details, die characteristics, strike anomalies, and other unusual features. However, not every apparent doubling is a valuable doubled die. Machine doubling, die deterioration, scratches, and lighting effects can create appearances that resemble doubling without being recognized varieties. The history of the 1993 Lincoln cent is connected to a major period of change in American coin production. In 1982, the United States Mint changed the composition of the cent from a predominantly copper alloy to a copper-plated zinc composition for circulating cents. This change was made largely because the rising price of copper had made the traditional bronze composition more expensive to produce. By 1993, copper-plated zinc cents were standard. This means that a 1993 cent is fundamentally different from an older copper Lincoln cent in terms of its internal composition. This composition can be useful when examining a suspected error. If someone discovers a 1993 cent that appears unusually heavy, unusually light, or has an exposed interior, the weight can provide clues. A normal coin should be around 2.5 grams when measured on an accurate scale. A significant weight difference may suggest a possible planchette problem, although weight alone cannot prove an error. Dirt, corrosion, plating loss, environmental damage, or a damaged edge can all affect the measured weight. Professional error specialists generally examine the entire coin and compare it with known minting processes before determining whether the coin is genuinely unusual. The phrase 1993 penny error can refer to many different possible abnormalities. Some may be extremely minor, while others could be genuinely collectible. A possible off-center strike is one example. An off-center error occurs when the blank planchette is not properly centered between the dies at the moment of striking. The resulting coin may show part of the design shifted toward one edge, leaving an area of blank planchette visible. The degree of off-center striking matters. A coin that is only slightly off-center may bring a modest premium, while a dramatic off-center strike that retains the date and mint mark can be considerably more desirable. For collectors, retaining the date is often important because it allows the coin to be identified. An off-center 1993 cent, with the full date clearly visible, may be more desirable than an otherwise similar example where the date is missing. The mint mark can also matter. A dramatic off-center strike from Denver may be more interesting to collectors than a similar example with an unclear origin. However, value is never determined solely by the fact that a coin is off-center. The exact percentage of displacement, overall condition, visual appeal, authenticity, and collector demand all influence the final price. Another possible error is a broad strike. A broad strike can occur when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread beyond the normal diameter. The result may be a coin that looks wider or flatter than a normal example. The details of the design and the shape of the edge can help specialists determine whether the coin was struck outside the collar. A broad strike that is clearly mint-made and visually dramatic may be collectible, especially if it is certified by a respected grading service. A related type of error is a partial collar strike. This occurs when the collar mechanism is not correctly positioned during striking. The coin may develop an unusual edge shape, sometimes producing what collectors call a railroad rim appearance. Such coins can be interesting because they demonstrate the mechanical process of coin production. The exact appearance is important, and specialists must distinguish genuine partial collar errors from coins that were damaged after leaving the mint. A double strike can also create a valuable error. A coin is double struck when it receives more than one strike from the dies, and the second strike is not properly aligned with the first. This can result in overlapping design elements. A dramatic double strike can be highly desirable because the error is visible and clearly connected to the minting process. However, minor machine doubling is much more common and usually has far less value. Machine doubling is one of the most misunderstood features in modern coin collecting. It can make letters, numbers, or other design elements appear to have a second image. However, machine doubling is usually created by movement or mechanical pressure during the striking process rather than by a doubled die. The visual effect is often flat, shelf-like, or reduced in height. A true double die is created earlier in the die-making process and can show a more distinct secondary image. The difference can be difficult for beginners to recognize, which is why expert examination is recommended when a coin appears to show unusual doubling. A genuine double die can potentially increase the value of a 1993 Lincoln cent, but the size and location of the doubling matter. Strong doubling on important features such as the date, liberty, or "I in God we trust" may attract more attention than extremely minor doubling in an obscure area. The reverse can also show doubled details. Collectors generally rely on specialized references, comparison photographs, and professional opinions to determine whether a suspected double die represents a recognized variety or merely mechanical doubling. Another possible error involves the planchette itself. The planchette is the prepared metal disc that becomes a coin when struck. If a planchette has an unusual thickness, incorrect composition, missing plating, clipped edge, or other manufacturing abnormality, the resulting coin may be considered an error. A clipped planchette, for example, can have a curved section missing from its edge. The shape of the clip and the presence of appropriate metal flow can help determine whether the clip occurred during the blanking process at the mint. A genuine clipped planchette is different from a coin that has been cut with a tool. A mint-made clip typically has characteristics consistent with the way the blanking press removed the planchette from a metal strip. Specialists may look for a curved clip, weakness in the design near the clip, and other diagnostic features. A coin with a suspiciously sharp cut or damage that exposes the interior may simply have been altered after leaving the mint. Plating errors are particularly interesting for 1993 cents because the coin is made from copper-plated zinc. The copper layer is very thin compared with the zinc core. If the copper plating was incomplete, missing, unusually thin, or improperly bonded during manufacturing, the coin may show unusual coloration or exposed zinc. However, collectors must be careful because environmental exposure can also damage the copper plating. Zinc can corrode when exposed to moisture, and a damaged or corroded cent may develop a gray, dark, or rough appearance. Such damage does not automatically make the coin valuable. A true missing plating error may be worth more than a damaged coin, but the difference can only be established through careful examination. Professional grading companies sometimes certify dramatic plating errors, and certification can make it easier for collectors to trust that the unusual appearance is genuine. If the coin is merely discolored or damaged, certification may not add significant value. Another possible error is a wrong planchette error. This occurs when a coin is struck on a planchette intended for a different denomination or composition. Such errors are among the more dramatic mistakes in the minting process. A 1993 cent struck on a wrong planchette could potentially be highly collectible if the error is genuine and can be documented. Weight, diameter, thickness, metal composition, and design characteristics are all important in determining whether a coin might have been struck on an incorrect planchette. A 1993 Lincoln cent that weighs significantly less than normal could attract attention. However, a low weight does not automatically indicate a wrong planchette. A portion of the coin may have been lost due to damage, corrosion, or environmental exposure. A coin can also lose weight if its plating has deteriorated or if it has been aggressively cleaned or chemically treated. The most important question is whether the weight difference is consistent with a known minting error. The same principle applies to an overweight coin. An unusually heavy 1993 cent might indicate a planchette problem, but the coin could also contain dirt or foreign material. A professional analysis can determine the composition and verify whether the metal corresponds to the expected composition of the coin. Modern era specialists often use precise scales and, when necessary, metallurgical testing to investigate unusual pieces. The value of a 1993 Lincoln cent is therefore not determined by the year alone. A normal circulated 1993 cent generally has little monetary value beyond its face value. Uncirculated examples may command a small premium, especially if they are bright, sharply struck, and free from significant marks. Proof examples from San Francisco may be worth more than ordinary circulation strikes, particularly when they are in excellent condition. But even a pristine normal 1993 cent should not automatically be described as a fortune. The possibility of a valuable error is what makes the 1993 cent interesting. Collectors often search through old jars, coin rolls, inherited collections, and pocket change hoping to discover an unusual piece. Most searches do not produce extraordinary treasures, but occasionally a genuine mint error is found. The excitement comes from the fact that an error coin can be identified by examining details that are invisible to the casual observer. The condition of a coin is another major factor. Coin grading typically ranges from heavily circulated pieces with significant wear to extremely high-grade examples with sharp details and minimal marks. Professional grading services evaluate factors such as wear, luster, surface quality, strike, and overall appearance. A common 1993 cent in low condition may be worth only face value, while a high-grade example can bring a premium. A rare error in high grade can potentially bring substantially more. For a valuable error, certification is especially important. A coin advertised online as a rare 1993 error worth millions should be approached cautiously if there is no independent verification. Sellers sometimes use sensational descriptions to attract attention. A dramatic claim about a $274 million value does not become true simply because the number appears in a social media post, a video title, or an online listing. There is currently no credible evidence that a 1993 Lincoln cent, with a genuine error, has sold for $274 million, or has a confirmed market value of $274 million. The $274 million figure should therefore be understood as an unverified sensational claim rather than an established market price. No responsible valuation should present that amount as a confirmed auction result without documentation from a recognized auction house, grading service, or other reliable numismatic source. This does not mean that every 1993 cent is worthless. Far from it. The world of error coins contains many examples of coins that are worth substantially more than their face value. The key is identifying the exact error and proving that it is genuine. A 1993 cent with a dramatic off-center strike, a major double strike, a verified wrong planchet error, or another significant mint-made mistake could attract serious collector interest. The history of Lincoln cents also adds to their appeal. When the Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, it represented an important moment in American coinage. Lincoln became the first real person to appear on a regularly circulating United States coin, and the choice was especially meaningful because the cent was introduced near the centennial of his birth. The original design by Victor David Brenner featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and two wheat ears on the reverse. The wheat reverse continued until 1959, when the Lincoln Memorial reverse was introduced. The 1993 cent therefore belongs to the Memorial reverse era. Although the coin itself is not particularly old by numismatic standards, it is part of a historically significant series. The Memorial reverse remained in use for 50 years, and millions of Americans grew up handling these coins. Collectors today often build complete sets by date and mint mark, while others focus exclusively on errors and varieties. The symbols and inscriptions on the coin are also significant. Liberty reflects one of the foundational ideals associated with the United States. In God We Trust is the national motto, and has appeared on United States coinage for generations. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, represents the idea of unity among the states and people of the nation. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse connects the coin directly to the memory of Abraham Lincoln and the preservation of the Union. The 1993 date itself may appear ordinary, but collectors know that ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide extraordinary manufacturing mistakes. This is why examining a coin under magnification can be worthwhile. The first step is to look at the date. Is it clearly visible? Does it appear doubled? Is the spacing normal? Does the mint mark look unusual? Is there any evidence of a second impression? The next step is to examine the edge. Is the edge normal and smooth? Is there an unusual raised rim? Does the coin appear thicker than expected? Is there a curved clip? Is part of the rim missing? Is the edge damaged? These observations can provide clues about whether the coin might have experienced a minting error. The surfaces should then be examined for signs of doubling, die cracks, cuts, missing design elements, or unusual strike characteristics. A die crack occurs when a crack develops in the die used to strike coins. As the die continues to be used, the crack can transfer a raised line onto the coins it strikes. Large die cracks can be collectible, especially when they create distinctive features. A cut is a related type of die break where a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a raised, blob-like area on the coin. Die cracks and die breaks can be fascinating to collectors, but not all are rare. The value depends on the size, location, dramatic appearance, and demand for the specific variety. A spectacular cud that dramatically changes the appearance of a 1993 cent may attract more attention than a tiny die crack that is difficult to see. Another feature collectors may notice is a die chip. A small piece of the die can break away and create a raised area on the coin. Die chips can occur in many locations, including letters and numbers. Some die chips become famous among collectors if they appear repeatedly on coins from the same die. However, an isolated small die chip is generally not worth an enormous amount. This is where realistic valuation becomes essential. The value of an error coin is determined by the marketplace, not by the imagination of the seller. A coin can be described as rare without being worth a large amount. Rarity is only one factor. Demand is equally important. A rare error that few collectors want may sell for less than a more common error with strong demand. Condition is another factor. A coin with a major error and excellent surfaces can be more valuable than a heavily damaged example with the same basic error. Certification can also affect marketability. Buyers may be more confident purchasing an authenticated error from a recognized grading service than buying an uncertified coin with an uncertain history. The provenance of a coin can also matter. If an unusual coin has a documented history, previous auction records, or a connection to a respected collection, collectors may be willing to pay more. However, provenance alone does not create value if the underlying coin is not genuinely rare. The idea of a $274 million 1993 penny is therefore best treated as an example of how exaggerated coin stories spread online. Viral content often takes a real concept, such as a rare error coin, and combines it with an enormous hypothetical value. The result may attract millions of views, but it does not necessarily represent the actual market. A responsible collector should never assume that a 1993 penny is worth $274 million simply because someone claims it online. Instead, the collector should ask several questions. What exactly is the error? Is it a recognized mint error? Can it be authenticated? Has a similar coin sold at auction? What is the grade? Is the coin certified? Is the claimed price based on an actual transaction, or merely an asking price? An asking price is not the same as a sale price. Anyone can list a coin online for $274 million. That does not mean anyone will pay $274 million. The true market value is established through completed sales and verified transactions. This distinction is crucial in the coin market. If someone discovers a suspicious 1993 Lincoln cent, the safest approach is to avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce collector value. Harsh chemicals, polishing compounds, abrasive materials, and even aggressive rubbing can leave scratches or alter the natural surface. A potentially valuable coin should be handled carefully by its edges and stored in a suitable holder. The coin should also be weighed using a precise digital scale. A scale capable of measuring to at least 1/100th of a gram can be useful for initial examination. The diameter can be measured with a caliper, although collectors should avoid scratching the coin. Comparing the measurements with known specifications can reveal whether the coin deserves further investigation. Magnification can also help. A loupe with moderate magnification allows collectors to inspect the date, mint mark, lettering, and surfaces. Excessive magnification can sometimes make ordinary imperfections appear dramatic, so beginners should learn the difference between actual mint errors and normal production characteristics. Photographs are useful when seeking expert opinions. Clear photographs of the obverse, reverse, and edge can help specialists evaluate a coin. The weight, diameter, and suspected error should be described accurately. It is better to say, "I believe this coin may be off-center," than to immediately declare, "This is a $274 million penny." A professional grading service can provide authentication and grading when the coin appears promising. For a significant error, certification can establish credibility. The grading label may identify the error type, which can make the coin easier to sell and easier for future buyers to understand. Collectors should also be cautious about fake errors. Some people intentionally alter coins to create the appearance of rarity. A coin may be cut, drilled, squeezed, heated, plated, chemically treated, or struck outside the mint using homemade equipment. These altered coins may look dramatic, but generally have little legitimate numismatic value. The Internet has made coin collecting more accessible, but it has also made misinformation easier to spread. Videos and articles with titles such as 1993 penny worth $274 million can attract attention, but viewers should look for evidence. A genuine extraordinary sale should have a documented auction record. If there is no record, the claim should be treated as speculation. The same principle applies to statements about current market value. Current market value is not a fixed number. It changes based on supply, demand, collector interest, auction results, economic conditions, and the specific characteristics of the coin. A normal 1993 cent and a rare certified 1993 error are entirely different markets. A normal 1993 Philadelphia cent without a mint mark is common. A normal 1993 D cent from Denver is also generally common. A 1993 South proof center is collected as part of proof sets and can have a higher value depending on condition. None of these ordinary coins should be confused with a major mint error. The distinction between circulation strikes and proof coins is also important. Proof coins are specially produced for collectors using specially prepared dies and planches. They typically have sharper details and more reflective surfaces. A proof coin is not automatically rare, but high-grade proofs can be collectible. If a 1993 South proof center shows an unusual error, the error may increase its desirability significantly. The 1993 cent is also interesting because of the copper-plated zinc composition. Copper-plated zinc coins can develop problems that older bronze cents do not. If moisture reaches the zinc core through a damaged area of the plating, corrosion can occur. This can produce bubbling, discoloration, or surface deterioration. Collectors should not automatically assume that every bubble or color change is a mint error. A genuine plating blister is a mint-related phenomenon that can occur when the bond between the copper plating and zinc core is imperfect. Such errors can sometimes be collectible. However, environmental corrosion can produce similar appearances. Specialists examine the shape, texture, and characteristics of the affected area to distinguish the two. One of the most exciting possibilities for a 1993 cent is a major off-metal error. If a cent was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, the resulting coin could be unusual. But such errors are exceptionally important to authenticate because they can be difficult to identify visually. The weight and composition must be consistent with the suspected planchet. A 1993 cent with an unusual metal appearance may also be a plated novelty, or an altered coin. Some people experiment with electroplating coins, creating gold-colored, silver-colored, or other unusual surfaces. These pieces can be interesting as curiosities, but usually do not have the same value as genuine mint errors. The minting process itself explains why errors happen. Coins begin as large metal strips that are processed into blanks. These blanks are then prepared into planchets and fed into striking machinery. Dies strike the planchette with tremendous pressure, transferring the design. The process involves many mechanical stages, and occasionally something goes wrong. A planchette can be improperly prepared. A blank can be clipped. A coin can become misaligned. A die can crack. A collar can malfunction. A coin can be struck multiple times. A foreign planchette can enter the wrong production line. These events are uncommon, but they are part of the reason error collecting exists. When an error escapes the mint and enters circulation, it can survive for decades without being recognized. A person may receive it in change, place it in a jar, and forget about it. Years later, someone examines the coin and notices something unusual. This is one reason collectors continue searching ordinary coins. However, the probability of finding a multimillion-dollar coin in everyday change is extremely low. The most realistic expectation is that most coins found in circulation will be worth their face value. The joy of collecting comes from learning and discovering, not from assuming every unusual coin is a fortune. A 1993 cent that is genuinely rare may still be valuable even if it is nowhere near $274 million. For example, a dramatic certified mint error could potentially sell for a meaningful premium depending on the specific error and collector demand. Some major modern U.S. mint errors have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars, and exceptional examples can command more. But the exact value must be determined case by case. The phrase "worth big money" therefore needs context. Big money in the coin world could mean $10, $100, $1,000, or much more, depending on the rarity. A coin worth $500 may be extremely valuable compared with its 1 cent face value, even though it is nowhere near millions. For a 1993 Lincoln cent, the first question should always be whether the coin is normal or genuinely unusual. The second question should be whether the unusual feature occurred at the mint. The third question should be whether collectors actually value that specific error. The fourth question should be whether the coin is authenticated and graded. Only after these questions are answered can a reasonable market estimate be made. The design of the Lincoln cent also contributes to its popularity. Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most recognized American historical figures, and his portrait has appeared on the cent for more than a century. The memorial reverse connects the coin to a major national monument. Even common examples have historical interest because they are part of the daily economic life of the United States. The 1993 date also places the coin in a period when the United States was undergoing technological and economic changes. The coin was produced before the widespread expansion of digital payments and smartphones. Millions of Americans still relied heavily on physical cash for everyday transactions. Coins circulated through stores, vending machines, banks, parking meters, and household coin jars. Today, many 1993 cents are more than 30 years old. Although that does not automatically make them rare, age can make collectors more interested in preserving examples in high condition. A bright, sharply struck coin with minimal marks can be more appealing than a heavily circulated example. The highest grades are especially competitive because modern coins can be difficult to preserve perfectly. Coins can acquire scratches and contact marks immediately after production when they move through bags, counting machines, and transportation systems. A coin that survives with exceptionally clean surfaces may receive a high grade. For collectors building registry sets, the grade can become particularly important. Registry collectors may compete to assemble the finest known examples of specific dates and mint marks. This can create strong demand for coins in exceptional grades, even when the underlying date is common. Nevertheless, a high grade does not automatically turn a normal 1993 cent into a multimillion-dollar coin. The market must support the price. A common coin in high grade may be desirable, but its value remains constrained by the number of similar examples available. A major error can change the equation. When a coin combines a dramatic mint era with excellent condition, scarcity can become significant. If only a small number of examples are known, collectors may compete strongly for them. This is how some era coins achieve impressive prices. The most important thing for anyone examining a 1993 penny is to avoid unrealistic expectations. If a coin appears unusual, investigate it. Do not immediately assume it is worth $274 million. At the same time, do not throw it away simply because it looks strange. Learn what you have, document it, and seek an informed opinion. The coin market rewards knowledge. Understanding minting processes, coin compositions, grading standards, and recognized varieties can help collectors distinguish genuine opportunities from misleading claims. A collector who knows how a coin was made is much more likely to recognize a real error. The 1993 Lincoln cent is therefore a fascinating example of how an ordinary object can become a subject of serious study. Its standard specifications are straightforward. It is a 1-cent denomination, approximately 19 millimeters in diameter, weighing approximately 2.5 grams, and made from copper-plated zinc. Its obverse carries Abraham Lincoln's portrait along with liberty, the date, and iron God we trust. Its reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum. Its value ranges from face value for ordinary circulated examples to potentially significant premiums for certified errors and exceptional varieties. The exact value depends on the coin's condition, mint mark, error type, rarity, authenticity, and market demand. The claim of a $274 million market value should not be presented as a confirmed fact. There is no established evidence that a 1993 Lincoln cent has a verified market price of $274 million. If a video or article uses that number, it is best understood as sensational or speculative unless it provides credible documentation of an actual completed sale. For a collector who finds a 1993 cent that appears to have an error, the best strategy is simple. Preserve the coin in its current condition. Do not clean it. Weigh it accurately. Examine both sides under good lighting. Inspect the edge. Photograph the coin clearly. Compare it with trusted references. If the feature still appears unusual, consult a professional dealer or grading service specializing in error coins. If the coin is truly a dramatic mint error, it could be worth far more than 1 cent. The difference between a common penny and a valuable error may be only a few millimeters of misplaced design, an unusual planchette, a dramatic double strike, or a rare production mistake. But the difference between a genuine error and an ordinary damaged coin can also be equally small. This is what makes the hobby so fascinating. The value of a coin is not always visible at first glance. A small copper-colored disc can carry history, technology, art, economics, and the story of the American minting process. The 1993 Lincoln cent may have passed through countless hands, traveled through stores and banks, rested in drawers, or remained forgotten in a jar for decades. Some examples are ordinary. Others may contain unusual characteristics that make them interesting to specialists. The collector's responsibility is to separate fact from fantasy. A sensational claim can generate excitement, but accurate research creates lasting knowledge. The 1993 Lincoln cent does not need a fictional $274 million valuation to be interesting. Its history, design, composition, and potential for genuine mint errors already make it worthy of attention. If you are searching for a valuable 1993 Lincoln cent, focus on evidence rather than headlines. Look for genuine mint-made characteristics. Study the date and mint mark. Check the weight and dimensions. Examine the edge. Learn to recognize double dies, machine doubling, off-center strikes, broad strikes, partial collars, die breaks, clips, plating errors, and wrong planchette strikes. Understand that each category has different levels of rarity and demand. A coin that appears to have an error should be compared with known examples. If possible, seek opinions from multiple knowledgeable sources. Be cautious about anyone who promises an enormous value without examining the coin carefully. Be equally cautious about anyone who demands a large fee upfront simply to tell you that your coin is valuable. Professional authentication is especially important if a coin appears to be a major error. The cost of authentication can be worthwhile when the potential value is significant. A certified coin is generally easier to market because buyers have greater confidence in its authenticity and condition. The 1993 Lincoln cent also demonstrates why preservation matters. Coins are historical objects, and their surfaces can be easily damaged. Fingerprints contain oils that may affect surfaces over time. Scratches can permanently reduce grade. Cleaning can create unnatural surfaces that collectors often dislike. Proper storage in an inert holder is usually preferable to loose storage in harsh environments. The idea of finding a life-changing fortune in a coin jar is appealing, but responsible collecting requires patience. Most searchers will not produce a $274 million coin. In fact, a verified $274 million valuation for a 1993 cent is not supported by the known market. But discovering a genuine error worth hundreds or thousands of dollars can still be an extraordinary experience. The best part of collecting is often the discovery itself. A collector may begin with a simple question: why does this penny look different? That question can lead to research into metallurgy, manufacturing, American history, economics, and the art of coin design. The 1993 cent becomes a doorway into a much larger world. The Lincoln cent series has survived wars, economic crises, changes in metal prices, technological advances, and changing payment habits. The 1993 issue is one small chapter in that larger story. It represents an era when the memorial reverse was still familiar to generations of Americans, and when copper-plated zinc cents were standard in everyday commerce. From a historical perspective, the coin is part of a continuous tradition that began with the introduction of the Lincoln cent in 1909. From a collecting perspective, it offers opportunities to study mint marks, condition, proof strikes, die varieties, and errors. From a financial perspective, its value depends on facts rather than sensational claims. If a 1993 penny is ordinary, its value may remain close to 1 cent. If it is a high-grade collectible, its value may be higher. If it is a recognized variety, the premium may increase. If it is a genuine major mint error, the value could potentially be much higher. But there is no automatic path from 1993 penny to $274 million. The most valuable lesson is therefore not the number $274 million. It is the importance of identification. Before assigning a value, identify the coin. Before calling it rare, establish the rarity. Before calling it an error, prove the error. Before claiming a market value, verify actual sales. A genuine 1993 Lincoln cent error can be a fascinating collectible. It can tell the story of the minting process and demonstrate how mechanical systems sometimes produce unexpected results. It can also become a valuable piece of numismatic history if the error is dramatic, rare, and authenticated. The 1993 Lincoln cent remains an excellent coin for collectors who enjoy searching, studying, and learning. Whether found in an old collection, a bank roll, a coin jar, or an inherited box, each example deserves careful examination. The majority will be ordinary, but a small number may show characteristics that deserve further investigation. The excitement of coin collecting comes from that possibility. A simple 1-cent coin can inspire questions about history, design, metallurgy, manufacturing, and economics. It can lead a collector to discover the difference between a true double die and machine doubling, between a mint error and post-mint damage, and between an asking price and a confirmed market value. So, if you have a 1993 Lincoln cent that appears unusual, do not immediately believe a claim that it is worth $274 million. Instead, examine it carefully and scientifically. Check the weight. Study the design. Inspect the edge. Look for authentic mint-made characteristics. Compare it with reliable references. Seek professional authentication when appropriate. The coin may not be worth millions, but it could still be an interesting and potentially valuable error. More importantly, learning how to identify it correctly will make you a better collector. The 1993 Lincoln cent is a reminder that rarity is not created by a headline. Value is created by authenticity, scarcity, condition, demand, and documented market activity. The most extraordinary coin discoveries are exciting precisely because they can be proven. For anyone interested in the 1993 Lincoln cent, the search should continue, not because every penny is secretly worth $274 million, but because the next unusual coin you examine might reveal a genuine piece of minting history. That possibility is what keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, albums, inherited collections, and pocket change. And that is the real story behind the 1993 Lincoln cent, an everyday American coin with a familiar portrait, a historic design, a copper-plated zinc composition, and the potential to teach collectors how the complicated process of minting can sometimes create remarkable mistakes. Most examples are common, but genuine errors can be valuable. The challenge is knowing the difference. The coin's physical specifications provide the starting point. The denomination is 1 cent. The standard copper-plated zinc composition gives it a weight of approximately 2.5 grams and a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters. The edge is plain. The obverse shows Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial. The mint mark, when present, identifies the production facility. These details establish the identity of the coin. From there, the collector moves into the more specialized world of varieties and errors. A missing mint mark is not automatically an error. A strange-looking date is not automatically a double die. A dark-colored surface is not automatically a rare composition. A damaged edge is not automatically a clipped planchette. A heavy coin is not automatically a wrong planchette error. Every claim must be supported by physical evidence. That principle is especially important in the modern age of viral coin content. Internet videos can make ordinary coins appear extraordinarily valuable. Some claims are created from misunderstandings, while others are based on hypothetical prices or unrealistic listings. The number $274 million may sound impressive, but without a documented sale, it has no reliable basis as a market value for a 1993 Lincoln cent. The real opportunity for collectors lies in learning the characteristics of genuine errors. A major error is valuable because it represents an unusual event in the manufacturing process. It is not valuable simply because it looks strange. The more clearly the error can be connected to the minting process, the stronger the case for authenticity. A dramatic off-center strike, for instance, can often be recognized because the design is visibly displaced and the blank area of the planchette remains. A double strike can show overlapping impressions. A broad strike can show unusual expansion outside the normal collar. A partial collar can create a distinctive edge. A clipped planchette can display a characteristic curved missing section. A wrong planchette error can be supported by unusual weight and composition. These are the kinds of characteristics that make error collecting a specialized field. The 1993 Lincoln cent also provides a useful lesson in the difference between condition rarity and absolute rarity. A common coin may be plentiful in circulated grades, but scarce in exceptionally high grades. Collectors may compete for the finest examples, creating premiums. But a high-grade normal coin is still fundamentally different from a major mint error. In the end, the value of any 1993 Lincoln cent must be determined individually. A normal circulated coin may be worth approximately face value. An uncirculated example may carry a premium. A proof may have collector value. A recognized variety may be worth more. A certified major error may be worth substantially more. But the exact price requires evidence. There is no verified basis for calling $274 million the current market value of a 1993 Lincoln cent. If such a coin were ever to sell for an amount remotely approaching that figure, the event would be extraordinary and would require extensive documentation. Until such evidence exists, the responsible position is to treat the $274 million claim as unverified. Collectors should therefore approach the 1993 Lincoln cent with curiosity rather than unrealistic expectations. Search carefully. Study the details. Preserve unusual examples. Learn from specialists. Authenticate important coins. And remember that the real treasure of numismatics is not always the price tag. Sometimes the greatest value is the story. A 1993 penny can connect a collector to Abraham Lincoln, the history of American coinage, the evolution of minting technology, the transition to copper-plated zinc, and the fascinating world of mint errors. It can teach patience, observation, and critical thinking. It can turn a simple coin into a subject of serious research. And sometimes, after all the searching and studying, a collector may discover that a coin once thought to be ordinary is actually something unusual. That is the moment every coin hunter hopes to experience. Not necessarily a $274 million miracle, but a genuine discovery, an authentic mint error, a rare variety, or an exceptionally preserved example that tells a story no ordinary coin can tell. The 1993 Lincoln cent may be common in its standard form, but the search for unusual examples continues because the minting process is complex and because collectors know that mistakes, when genuine and rare, can become valuable pieces of history. The key is knowledge. Know the weight. Know the diameter. Know the composition. Know the design. Know the mint marks. Know the difference between damage and error. Know the difference between machine doubling and a doubled die. Know the difference between a plating problem and environmental corrosion. Know the difference between an asking price and a completed sale. And above all, know that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you keep those principles in mind, the 1993 Lincoln cent becomes much more than a 1-cent coin. It becomes an opportunity to explore American history and the fascinating science of coin production. Whether your example is worth 1 cent, a few dollars, hundreds of dollars, or potentially much more because of a genuine and certified error, the process of discovering its identity is what makes coin collecting so rewarding. The next time you see a 1993 Lincoln cent, take a closer look. You may find nothing unusual, and that is perfectly normal. But if something catches your eye, a strange strike, an unusual edge, an apparent doubled feature, a missing portion of plating, or a dramatic displacement, do not rely on sensational claims. Investigate. Measure. Compare. Authenticate. And let the evidence determine the value. That is the most accurate way to understand the 1993 Lincoln cent, its history, its design, its errors, and its place in the world of modern American coin collecting.